Hi everyone, John Cottrell here, and welcome to Power Hour Yoga. This is a 60-minute power vinyasa yoga practice. That means we're going to be moving with breath. And we are going to do a class that I'm calling Squats and Binds. All right, that doesn't sound like the best name of a class, but it does feature some of the things that we're going to be doing in this class. We'll be doing some kind of there is a squat that we will be doing in this class, but it's really to help open up our hips and our inner thighs. And there's some binds involved too. So I've got a few poses. One that you may have never done before, and if you have, it's probably been a long time, so we're going to feature somewhat of a new posture, and one that you might be a little bit more familiar with. All right, here's our props that we're going to be using. So I would suggest grabbing a couple of blocks or books, something that you can stack, something firm that you can actually sit on, okay? And then I might also suggest either a blanket or a big beach towel, something that you can lay out, okay? But also something soft, something for your head. What are we going to be doing today? So some blocks and blanket or a big beach towel. So let's go ahead and begin our practice. We're going to begin in mountain pose. So go ahead and stand near the top of your mat with your feet about hip distance apart. Your toes are pointing forward. This is just to help establish a nice strong connection, balance, and centering as we begin our practice together. You might begin with a slow, deep breath. Just inhale deeply through your nose, and you can exhale through your nose or out through your mouth. You might do that several times. Nice full breath in. And exhale. Just to help settle in, arrive in the moment, connect to your body and breath. Very nice. Holding here in stillness, and then you can just continue with slow, steady breaths in and out. You can do this with your eyes opened. You might be gazing forward or even downward. You're not really looking at anything, but just a soft gaze. You might be holding in this standing position with your eyes closed. Taking a journey inward so you can pay more attention to what's going on inside of you and letting go of the things that are going on outside of you. Slow, steady breaths. Just to bring a little bit more awareness to your breath, you might inhale and just feel the breath rising upward to fill up your lungs, expand your heart space. And as you exhale, draw your belly in, navel to spine, a light contraction of your abdominal muscles, a wonderful way to connect to your center. So again, an inhale to lift and lengthen through your spine, feel tall and light as your breath expands your lungs. Exhale, draw belly in, that light contraction of your abdominal muscles. And do that a few more times, deepening your connection, a full awareness of self. Go ahead and take 3 more breaths in and out as we prepare our bodies to move. And when you're ready, inhale and extend your arms overhead. Reach and stretch. And exhale, let's fold forward, so a good hinge from your hips. Bend your knees as much as you need to as you make your way down towards your toes. Then inhale, slide your hands up to your shins, your knees, or even your thighs, and extend your spine. Really feel like you're coming forward. Exhale with soft knees. Fold all the way back down, allowing the back to round. And just hang heavily forward here for a few breaths. Make sure your head is loose by nodding yes, shake your head no. Check in with your shoulders, maybe some circles with the shoulders. Even a little sway of your upper body left and right, just to release the low back a little bit, get into the hips. Coming back to center, hold in stillness. Shift your weight back into your heels, bend your knees, feel like you're going to sit down. Look forward, this should re-extend your spine. Take your arms out to the side, spreading your wings, and then take your arms all the way up into the air, standing tall. Inhale, and exhale, bring your arms down by your side, returning to mountain pose. Wonderful. That's our half salute to the sun. And we're going to repeat that short sequence, just introducing movement to our bodies. Inhale, reach into the air, nice stretch, lengthening through the sides of your body. Exhale, let's fold forward with soft knees. Take your time as you make your way down, never any rush. Then inhale, fully extend your spine, a long flat back, feel the energy move through the crown of your head. Exhale, back down, forward fold, soft knees, heaviness in the body, rounded spine, loose neck and shoulders. Shift your weight back into your heels, bend your knees, look forward, spread your wings. Inhale and stand up all the way. Reach really high, big stretch here. Exhale, bring your arms back down by your side. Just hold here for a moment, find stillness, take a breath. And before we get into our full sun salutation, just take a moment and do some more circles with the shoulders. Big circles, roll them backward, roll them forward. Just getting into our shoulders here a little bit. Some of our binding postures, if you're familiar with binding postures, really get into our shoulders a bit. Alrighty, back to stillness and mountain pose, and we'll continue our flow. Here we go. Inhale, reach into the air, and exhale, let's fold forward, swan dive, make your way down, take your time. Inhale, rise up halfway, full length of spine. Exhale, bend your knees enough, rounded back. Bring your hands to the floor, and walk or step both of your feet back into plank pose, a high push-up position. Holding here. Inhale, and exhale, bend your knees a little, send your hips into the air, just moving into downward facing dog. This is just our shortcut into down dog. Take a moment to adjust your feet on your mat. You might tiptoe forward a little bit. I like to take my hands a little wider on the mat, providing a little bit more space in my shoulders and neck. You can just hold in stillness here if you'd like, or if you'd like, press one heel down, then the other, just alternating, so you feel a stretch and lengthening through your calf muscles and through your toes. Just feeling your knees bend, your hips might even shift side to side. Meanwhile, your hands are pressing firmly into the floor, strong arms to help stabilize the upper body as you hold or move in this inverted posture. Come back to stillness and down dog. Take a nice full breath in. Fill up your lungs. Exhale, walk, step, or hop, both feet up to the top of the mat. Inhale to extend your spine. Exhale, fold. Weight shift into the heels. Inhale, reverse your swan dive. Grow tall, reach into the air. And exhale, arms down by your side. Hold, breathe. Very nice. That was our Sun Salutation Series A. Let's move into Series B. Inhale, reach into the air. This exhale, take chair pose. Feel as if you're sitting back into a seat behind you. Then inhale, just extend the arms out. Then exhale, dive out of your seat, down towards toes, forward fold. Inhale, full length of spine, lifting halfway. Exhale, bent knees, rounded spine, hands to the mat. Walk, step, or even hop both feet back into plank pose. Let's take a breath in. Exhale, bend elbows, squeeze them in towards your ribs as you slowly lower your way down in a straight line. Pull forward so you can easily elongate through your feet, pointed toes, and then press into the floor with your hands, straightening your arms, look forward, heart really facing forward to create a back bend. This is upward facing dog. Exhale, tuck your toes under, lifting your knees, then hips into the air. Feel the re-extension of your spine. Hips nice and high, knees bent, palms flat on the ground, downward facing dog. Let's continue. Inhale, extend right leg up behind you. Reach long behind you. Exhale, let's step through. Right foot to the top of the mat, landing near right hand. Turn left heel to the floor behind you, ensuring good stability and balance, even distribution of weight between both feet. Extend your torso long out over your right thigh. Then hinge from hips. Inhale, rising up, reaching into the air, face forward, warrior one. Exhale to hinge, fold, bring your hands down to the mat. Let's step back into plank pose. Once again, bend elbows to lower your body. Down to Chaturanga Dandasana, four-limb staff pose. Inhale, pull forward, and then up into your upward facing dog, your back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, extend left leg up into the air, nice and long. Exhale, stepping through, left foot to the top of the mat, landing. Right heel plants into the floor, find that even distribution of weight. Feel the full extension of your torso and spine over your left thigh. Inhale, rising up, reach up, look forward, warrior one. Exhale, folding again, hands back down to the mat. And we'll step back into plank pose. Lower your way down, here we go. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Well done. Pause here for a moment. We're going to make our way down to the ground. We're going to take a seat. So you can kneel down to take your seat or hop forward, cross your legs and take a seat. Make sure you're sitting in the center of your mat and then go ahead and roll down onto your back. Let's prepare for bridge pose, which of course is our back bend. Once you're down, go ahead and bend your knees. Place your feet firmly on the mat. And just take a few breaths here as you settle into the mat. Feel your whole back body melt and relax. Take a few moments in relaxation just to regather your breath, reconnect, return to this present moment. And let's get ready to move. Inhale, fill up your lungs. Exhale, empty your belly, engaging your center, then peeling your hips up off the ground, lifting up into bridge pose. Here I like to take the arms and shoulders a bit underneath me, here, just to feel the expansion more of the upper chest. I feel I can even rise up a little bit more. Using the backs of my arms, I've bent my arms here at 90 degrees, and if I press into the ground with the triceps and elbows, I feel more stable in the posture, and I can lift a tiny bit higher. And then once you're in your place, just breathe in and out deeply. Notice the sensations in your body. I know for me, this is a pretty active pose. I feel a lot happening here. But mainly a nice opening for the whole front side of your body. It's also a heart opener, so feeling that expansion in your heart space. From here, go ahead and wiggle your toes forward. We're making our way out of the pose. Extend your arms up into the air, and then roll your way down to the ground. Let's extend the body here. So extend the legs out front, reach the arms behind you, reach in these opposite directions. A breath or two here for that lengthening, just to get out of the back bend. And then go ahead and draw both knees into chest. You can hug them in, hold onto your knees or shins. Begin to rock forward and back. With a good exhale, eventually rocking your way up to seated, coming to boat pose. You can lift your feet here. You can even keep them on the ground if you want. But maybe bent knees, energized feet. I like to flex my feet. Maybe your shins are parallel to the floor. You can extend the legs here, another option, or keep them bent. Mine are bent. I'm holding onto the knees. I'm just extending the spine, nice and long, but leaning back so I do have that angled upper body, and that's typical in our boat pose. Tip the chin up a little bit so the spine or your neck is in the same alignment as your spine. We're breathing in to fill up the lungs, exhaling to engage the belly. All these wonderful sensations. All right, let's get ready to move. Let's take a breath in. Exhale, cross legs. If you can, roll forward. Catch yourself with your hands. Hop or step back plank pose. Hold plank. And while you hold plank, still see if you can feel those sensations of core engagement, belly button pulling up towards spine. Let's take a shortcut to down dog. Bend your knees a little, send your hips into the air. Make your adjustments with your feet and hands. Settle in. And let's continue. Let's inhale, extend right leg up. Hold on the exhale, reach long. Let's open this up. Let's bend the knee, bring the heel down towards backside. A simple lift of the knee up towards the ceiling just to get a little bit of a hip opener. We will be featuring some hip openers today. Breathe in. Exhale, unwind, step through. Right foot to the top of the mat. Left heel turns and plants into the ground behind you firmly. Long spine and torso. Inhale, rising up, facing forward, reaching into the air, first warrior. Exhale, turn torso towards the left side of the room. Arms come down to parallel, second warrior, or warrior two. I like to take my feet a little wider on the mat, lunging a little deeper. Again, we're going to be working in the inner thigh, hips, okay, and inner thigh. So I like to go a little deeper with this. So just check in to see how this feels for you. Let's take side angle pose. So reaching out, angled upper body, rotate the arms, right hand reaching down, left hand reaching up into the air initially. Hold for a couple breaths. Feel this sensation, nice opening of the heart center as well. Let's bring the left hand down behind you, maybe resting on your low back. And I would suggest even rolling this left shoulder back, and if you can, hold it back just to feel a bit more opening up through the heart space. And let's inhale to re-extend the left hand up into the air. Exhale, turn. Let's bring the hands down to the ground. Step back into plank pose. Let's hold here in plank, keeping that core engagement very strong. And once again, a shortcut to down dog. Then inhale to extend left leg up into the air. Hold on the exhale. Feel the extension here. Let's bend the knee. Bring the heel down toward your back side. Lifting the bent knee up towards ceiling a bit. Doesn't have to be much, just enough where you start to feel the hip opening. Take a breath in. Exhale to unwind it so you can step through. Left foot to the top of the mat. Right heel plants into the earth. Long spine, long torso. Inhale, rise up, reach up into the air, warrior one. Exhale, turning torso towards the right side of the room, warrior two. Settling in. Make your adjustments with the feet if you'd like. Again, I'm going a little wider with the feet so I can lunge a little deeper, really getting into the inner thighs. Make sure the arms are extended and they're parallel to the ground. Moving to our side angle pose, reaching out, angled upper body, rotate the arms, reaching up, reaching down initially, opening up through the heart space, maintain your deep lunge, and then take your right hand down behind you to your low back. Roll the right shoulder back to help open up the chest a bit more. This is also helping to release the shoulder. And it's getting also ready for our binds. Let's inhale to re-extend, right hand up into the air. Exhale to turn, slowly lower, bring your hands to the floor. Let's step back into plank pose. Pause for a moment. Let's finish with Chaturanga Dandasana, so bending your elbows to lower your way down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Make sure long legs are behind you with pointed toes. Exhale, downward facing dog. A nice full breath in. Exhale, walk, step or hop both feet up to the top of the mat. Inhale to extend your spine. Exhale, fold. Weight shift into the heels, bend your knees. Inhale, reverse your swan dive. Come to standing, reaching high. Exhale, arms down by your side. Excellent. All right, feel free to shake this out. A bit more mobility in the shoulders, so more circles with the shoulders. We're going to do a couple things in standing. Let's start with balance. And the balancing pose will be tree pose, which is also a great hip opener. Alrighty, nice and tall, finding your balance on 2 feet. And then start shifting your weight over to your right foot, root down strongly. Inhale, feel nicely lengthen through the spine. Inhale, fill up the lungs. Exhale, engage belly. Then peel your left foot up off the floor, lifting the foot, maybe a flexed foot there. Thigh parallel to the ground. Here's the hip opener, where the knee just swings out to the side. Hips are still square facing forward. That's the hip opener. Go ahead and place your foot on the inside of your standing leg there. Let's inhale to extend the arms up into the sky, reach and stretch. Exhale, draw belly in to engage your center, helping you to hold your posture. And just finding something out in front of you to gaze at, and that's what we call that, your gaze, which is drishti, or dristi in Sanskrit. You can also look down if you need to. That can also help with balance. Let's reach a little higher, breathe a little deeper. Let's keep the arms extended. Swing your left knee forward. Lift your knee with the flexed foot, and then plant the foot into the ground. Bring your arms down by your side. Give them another little shake here. Circles backward, circles forward. Let's go up and down with the shoulders, up towards earlobes, really high. Push them down one more time. Lift high towards earlobes, and then down. Alrighty. Tree pose, other side. Start shifting weight into left foot. Press foot into the ground. Strong leg activation. Inhale, feel tall, lengthen spine, fill up the lungs. Exhale, draw belly in so you can float the right foot up off the ground. Thigh to parallel here. Flex the foot. Here's the hip opener as the knee swings out to the side. Hips are square facing forward. Go ahead and place the foot on the inside of your standing leg. Let's get some length through the torso. So we're going to inhale, reach both arms up into the sky, reach and stretch. Exhale, engage your abdominal lock. That's your navel drawing in towards spine. Very active body as you hold in stillness. Helps with balance, stability, and strength. Gazing forward, find your drishti point. A couple more breaths. And then keep your arms extended. We'll swing that right knee forward, lifting knee with the flexed foot. Plant the foot into the ground. Bring your arms back down by your side. All right, one more circling with the shoulders. Okay, we're going to do one more standing position here. Actually, it's going to be a bowing position, but it's going to involve our shoulders, okay? I'm just going to turn sideways for this. Follow me. We're going to inhale, reach both arms up into the air. Exhale, slowly bring them down. And as you're bringing them down, you're going to start to reach behind you like this. Just reach back. Active, open hands. Keep them here, or if you're able, interlace your fingers. If you can, interlace your fingers here. It's okay if the elbows need to remain bent, but if you can, straighten the arms as best as you can. And then a little bit more of the shoulder rolling back, squeezing shoulder blades together. That might even help the arms elongate. Now put a little bend in the knees, like that, and then tip over a little bit. It'll feel like chair pose. Now you're welcome to stay like this. I'm going to go into a forward fold, but this could be the end of the posture if you'd like. We're mainly just focusing on opening up through the chest, activating the upper back, and rolling those shoulders back. All right, bend the knees more if you're following me, and then start to tip over. So your head is going down, your folded fingers are starting to lift up, and go as deeply as you'd like. Now your hands, they might either touch your body, like down low at your low back, or you can lift them away. It just really depends on the mobility and flexibility of your shoulders. 2 more breaths here. Wherever you are, just going to rise back up. Coming up nice and tall. Release the fingers. Reach the arms up into the air. And this time as you bring the arms down, bring them forward and down slowly. Forward and down. And once you get to parallel, really reach forward so everything pulls forward. Make sense? Everything pushes or reaches forward there. And then bring the arms down. You will kind of feel this little movement of the shoulders forward and then roll them back. And then shake that out. Wonderful. Okay, let's go ahead and continue with our flow and we'll add on. Here we go. Inhale, reach into the sky. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, monkey pose. Long spine, flat back. Exhale, bend your knees, hands down to the ground. Step back into plank pose. And if you like, come right down, Chaturanga Dandasana. Now as you rise into upward facing dog, roll the shoulders back, squeezing shoulder blades together, very much like what we just did in that forward fold when the fingers were folded behind us. And then move into downward facing dog. Let's keep it flowing. Inhale, extend right leg up into the air, bend and twist. That's the heel coming down towards backside. Feel your bent right knee lift up towards ceiling. Opening the hip. With the exhale, unwind and step through. Landing at the top, turn left heel to the floor behind you. Make sure you extend your torso, then inhale to rise up, reaching into the sky, Warrior 1. Exhale, opening here to Warrior 2. Maybe a wider stance. I'm really wiggling the feet away from each other, lunging a little deeper. Outstretched arms, right away to side angle. I'm going to reach and see if you can reach out a little bit more and then rotate the arms. And just see if those 2 actions took you a little deeper. Those 2 actions were taking the feet wider apart and maybe reaching farther forward before you rotated the arms. Once again, bring the left hand down behind you. Now we're going to see if we can go a little lower. With each breath, perhaps you're finding a little bit more space in the body. I'm coming all the way down where I can actually touch the ground with my fingertips here. We're getting to a place where maybe the elbow is below this thigh. Elbow is below the thigh. So I can actually bend the elbow like this and reach underneath. And what I'm going to attempt to do is reach for this left hand that's behind me. I'm hooking a few of the fingers. So this is our first bind. There we are. Bound side angle. Release the bind, re-extend your arms floor to ceiling. Turn. You're going to bring both hands to the floor on the inside of your right foot. Rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. You'll be in this runner's lunge. For the moment, set the left knee onto the ground. You can keep the toes flexed or flatten the foot behind you. With the right foot, I'm going to suggest that you wiggle it out to the side, either right to the edge of the mat or slightly off the mat, just to give your hands a little bit more space here on the mat. Imagining like you're in plank pose or chaturanga. Stay here, and if you feel like your back is rounded, because I feel a bit relaxed right here at the moment, just lift your chin, look forward, and then feel like you're going forward. That'll start to lower the hips, and just notice this hip flexor stretch. This may also be getting into the right inner thigh. Another thing I'm going to do with this right foot is actually wiggle the foot forward a little bit. So I have a little bit more space in the right inner thigh. Now I'm going to bring my both of my blocks in. So I'm going to suggest this. Step your hands forward a little bit. Start bending your elbows and lower your way down towards the floor. You don't have to go all the way down. Just a little bend of the elbow, lowering the torso, may provide more sensation in both legs. If you're able, you can bring your elbows all the way down to the ground, or if you can't quite reach the ground, use your stacked blocks or books or whatever you've got. I've got my blocks, and this feels just about right to rest my forearms as I really feel this stretch in the left hip flexor, that left leg extending out back behind me, and my right leg, inner thigh. Now again, you probably can't really see my right foot and leg, but like I said, I moved it out to the right side. The knee and toes are kind of pointing out at an angle, and I've moved the right foot forward a little bit, so I've created much more space in that right inner leg. Okay, slowly rising back up onto the hands, shifting the hips up and back slightly to get out of this deep lunge. Leaning to the left a little bit so I can actually just slide the right foot back and come to hands and knees. Let's take cat and cow. So lifting head and heart, arching the back, exhale rounded into cat pose. Let's just get some movement, a nice undulation through the spine, that rocking of the pelvis, because that deep stretch kind of locks things in place a little bit, and so we want to recreate mobility. We're going to do one more thing as a little rest. I'm going to take the knees slightly wider and then sit back into child pose here. And you can make it very active where you're really sitting back, extend the arms forward, really reaching. Even bring forehead down to the ground. I usually like to bring in a block, which I'm doing right now, and rest my forehead on the block. Or you can soften this up. You don't have to make this quite as active. Just a little bit of lengthening. Lengthening through the sides of the body. It also gives you a bit of relaxation, releasing. Go ahead and take 3 more breaths. And then slowly make your way back up to hands and knees. If the knees are out from underneath the hips, just step them in so they're underneath the hips again. Tuck toes. Lift the knees, straight line plank pose. Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, up dog. Again, feel the shoulders roll back, heart opens, look forward. Exhale, downward facing dog. Let's do that whole sequence on the other side now. Inhale, extend left leg up into the air, bend and twist. Heel down, lift the knee, feel the hip opening.
With your exhale, unwind it to step through. Left foot landing at the top of the mat, right heel down behind you. Extended torso. Inhale, rise, warrior one.
Exhale, opening to warrior two. Settle in. All right, those two actions. Taking the feet wider, lunging deeper, preparing for our side angle. So reach forward, maybe reach more, rotate the arms. Extending, reaching up and down. Another inner thigh stretch. Do you feel that? And then bring right hand down behind you. Keep breathing in and out deeply to create more space in the hips. Maybe lowering yourself a bit more. Maybe the fingertips can actually touch the ground. But working towards getting to the place where your elbow is below your thigh. Can you see that? My tricep is right against the inner thigh, but I can easily bend the elbow so I can actually reach up behind and hook these two fingers. You can probably see this now. I'm hooking several fingers together there for my bound side angle pose. Really strong feet and legs here as they support the posture as well. Release the bind, inhale, extend the arms floor to ceiling. Exhale, bring both hands to the floor on the inside of the left foot. Rise up onto tiptoes behind you. Set the right knee down. You can even pad it. If you want to bring in your towel or blanket, you can do that. All right, so at the moment, my left foot is right next to my left hand. If I was going to go into a deep lunge here and try to bring my elbows to the floor, I would not make it. Okay, I have no space. The pelvis, for me, is not in the right placement for that deep lunge. So that's why I like to move the left foot off to left side. Knee and toes are kind of pointing out in an angle. Wiggle the toes forward out at that angle a little bit. And that just frees up the leg a whole lot. First, just press into the ground with the hands. Look forward and just kind of lean into this. Then step the hands forward a little bit. That should give you the space now so you can start bending the elbows, lowering your straight torso towards the floor. Pause. Go in small increments here so you can really feel what's happening to the right hip flexor and left inner thigh. If you want to go lower, you're very welcome to, or stay where you are. I'm going to go low and use my blocks just to lift the floor up a little closer to me. There we are. Let me settle in. I'm just making another little adjustment with my left foot, also my right leg. Then I should feel just right here. This is pretty deep for me. This is pretty deep. But you just want to be in a place where, yes, you have sensation. You can still breathe deeply in and out. You feel like you could settle in this posture for a few more moments. If it feels like it's too deep or you've been here long enough, you can start to soften the pose or even come out of the pose. Let's start to come out of the pose. So move slowly as you make your way back onto your hands. I'll move my blocks out of the way. Lifting the hips so you're coming out of that deep lunge. I'm leaning to the right a little bit so I can just slide this left foot back, come to hands and knees, cat and cow. And just getting that nice undulation through the spine again. Movement through the pelvis. We'll take one more child's pose. So go ahead and take the knees a little wider on the mat. It just makes a little bit more space, perhaps, as you sit back. Hips towards heels. Extend arms out in front. You can keep this active or soften it up as you'd like. Take advantage of the moment to tune into breathing, closing your eyes, softening the body if you'd like here. Let's take 3 more breaths. And when you're ready, just return to hands and knees. Bring the knees in underneath the hips. Let's go to down dog here. So you might even step your hands forward so your hands are out from underneath your shoulders. Spread out your fingers. Tuck your toes. With an exhale, lift knees, then hips. And there's our downward facing dog. Alrighty.
Jump, step, or walk, both feet up to the top of the mat. Stay on your feet. Inhale, extending spine. Exhale, fold. Let's hold here for a few moments. Releasing head, neck, and shoulders. Then shifting weight into the heels, bend your knees. Inhale, reverse your swan dive, come up to standing. Reach high, even hold this extended mountain pose for a second to get that nice re-extension. And exhale, arms down by your side. Alrighty. Okay, we need to introduce a squat. Okay, I'm going to call it a yogi squat. So let's flow, make our way down to the ground, and then I'll demonstrate what we'll be doing once we're there. Okay, so mountain pose. Here we go. Inhale, reach into the sky. Both arms. Exhale, swan dive. Take your time. And inhale, monkey pose, extending. Exhale, hands to the floor. Hop or step back into plank pose. Hold here for a moment. Just go ahead and take a shortcut to down dog. Right there. Hold. And then go ahead and bring your knees to the floor. Sit back into hero pose if you can. If you can hold this, just stay here. Or if you need to, take a seat while I demonstrate this next piece. This is where you might want to use your stack blocks. Okay, this will be something you might want to sit on for this pose. So I'm going to keep them right next to me here. Okay, just watch me. I'm going to come back to downward facing dog. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hop forward, landing with my feet wider than my hands, knees and toes turned out, bend knees, drop the hips down, and I'll be in a squat. I'll say that again and do it. As I exhale, I'm going to hop forward, landing with my feet wider than my hands, with bent knees, bringing hips down. Knees and toes are pointing out to the side, and there's that squat. So I'm just dropping down right here. This is where the blocks can come in handy. If you feel a little unsteady, it feels like you might fall backward, then maybe use your blocks and just use that as a little bench to sit on here, okay? I'm going to turn to face you for a moment, okay? We'll do this together in a second. So once we're here, the hands can stay in front. You kind of look like a frog, alrighty? But you can also just lift yourself up, bring your palms together, and with the elbows here, just kind of press outward, just kind of pushing against the legs, pushing them outward. As you do that, you're doing two things. One, extending the spine, getting tall, right there, but also you're opening up through the hips. Alrighty? So let's try that together. So go ahead and grab your blocks if you want to have them nearby for this. And then make your way back to downward facing dog. I'm just adjusting my mat here. There we go. So downward facing dog. All right, with a good exhale, you're going to hop forward, landing with your feet wide, knees and toes turned out, knees bent, hips come down. Sit on your blocks if you need to. I am. All right, if you can, get nice and tall here. Bring hands to heart. As you push out, it's leverage to help extend spine, but also with that pressing out, you're opening up through the hips. So I'm going to call this a yogi squat. Okay, so this is the squat I was talking about. We're going to do a couple things here. All right, just stay seated. Actually, it's a good idea, I think, for this next segment to use the block. You don't have to balance in this posture. We're going to do a couple things. One, place your right hand, or just lower the right hand. Maybe your fingertips touch the ground. Your right hand, just let it naturally come down. And take the left arm up into the air, and then bring it down behind you to low back. Roll this left shoulder back. And just open there. You might slightly twist a little bit towards your left side. All right? Just feel that sensation. Then we're going to re-extend this left hand up and just bring it around and to the front and then down to the ground, okay? And we'll pick up the right arm, reach, a little bit of a twist to the right, bring the right hand down behind you to low back, make sure the right shoulder is rolled back so you're still lengthened through the torso. All right, we're moving toward a pose called garland pose. So this yogi squat, which is really just a nickname, is preparation for garland pose. Let's bring this right hand up and over to the front. Bring both hands to the floor. Keep both hands on the floor. Now, garland pose is actually a bind. We're not doing the full bind. Full bind for this posture would be bringing both arms out in front and then wrap them around from the inside, wrapping around the shins, and your hands being able to clasp behind you. I am nowhere close to that. Maybe you are. So we're going to do this one leg at a time. Alrighty? How are your legs feeling? If you need to rest, go ahead and rest, okay? Or just continue to follow me. All right, I'm going to face you again so you can really see this, and I'm going to try to mirror you. If you need to rest out of that squat, if your hips or knees need a rest, go ahead and come out of the pose. Otherwise, we're staying here. Okay, this is a great hip opener. Okay, I'm going to mirror you. So right hand off to the right side here, just on the floor for a little balance. Take left hand up, kind of turning to the left a little bit. Bring left hand down behind you. That's our first variation. Second variation is take this right hand, wrap it around the shin here from the front, from the inside and front. And if you can't, see if I can clasp those fingers. Yes. Alrighty? So we're doing half garland pose. Rather than the full bind of getting both arms around both legs at the same time, we're doing one at a time. Let's release the bind. Let's bring this left hand up and over. Bring it to the front. Lean over to that side. Take the right hand up and around behind you here. And as you're able, let's wrap this left arm around the shin. See if you can find your right set of fingers to hook. There's a bit of a turn or a twist towards the right side of the room. Half garland pose. So this may be a new pose for you. All right, we need to get out of this posture, don't we? All right, let's release. Bring this right hand up and around. Let's bring both hands to the front so again you'll look like a frog. And from here, getting off the blocks, if you can come to crow pose, or just not even a full crow. Crow is a balancing posture. Rise up onto your tiptoes. Lean forward onto the hands so the weight is in your hands. Let the elbows bend. The legs will lie heavily against the triceps and elbows here. This is fine for crow, where you can go all the way where the feet lift up off the ground. Lift the hips, step back, plank pose, strong straight line. Downward facing dog. Let's just take a shortcut here. Let's take another child's pose. Bring the knees down, knees wide. Flatten the feet, because your feet probably need that. Sit back, extend the arms. Just 5 breaths, just to get a little bit more extension here and a bit of a rest. Having done that very long, very extended squatting position, yogi squat and half garland pose. And then we'll move into our sequence. It's going to start with down dog. So come up to hands and knees. Let's just do a quick cat and cow, maybe 2 breaths. Again, getting some nice release through the spine and pelvis. And then downward facing dog. Let's move through our sequence. Here we go. Inhale, extend right leg up, bend and twist open. Get a good rotation here. Unwind, step through, right foot to the top of the mat. Left heel plants into the floor. Inhale, rise, warrior 1. Exhale, opening, warrior 2. Wider stance, lunge deeply, side angle. Reaching out, rotate the arms. Right into the bind. Can you bring the left hand down behind you? Right arm underneath the right leg, bind if you can. This is a good place you can use like a towel, a hand towel, or a strap, and that's a prop I didn't ask you to get, but if you happen to have one, you can use that. Inhale, release, re-extend the arms, turn, bring hands to the floor, step back, plank pose, downward facing dog. Just take a shortcut here. And then yogi squat. So your exhale to hop forward, landing with feet wide, knees and toes turned out, bent knees, drop those hips down. Sit on your blocks if you need to. Bring hands to heart. Press against the inner legs to help extend spine, opening up through the hips. Bring right hand down to the floor, fingertips. Left arm extends up, reach behind you. Stay here or go for the bind. Half garland. Opening up a little bit towards your left side. Unbind, release the fingers. Bring this left arm around to the front, both arms in front. Crow pose. Lean forward. It could be partial crow. You don't have to lift the feet at all. But you may need to lift the hips so you can release the legs and step back, plank pose. Strong straight line. Come on down, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. That's our sequence. Let's do the other side. Inhale, extend left leg up, bend and twist open. Little nice rotation, good opening, unwind on the exhale, step through. Left foot to the top of the mat, right heel plants. Inhale, rise up, warrior one. Exhale, opening, warrior two. Side angle pose, really reach out there, rotate the arms, high and low. Let's go for that bind if you're able. Still okay if the fingers don't reach. Use a prop if you need to. Bound side angle. Here we are. Inhale, re-extend the arms, floor to ceiling. Turn, hands to the floor. Step back, plank, straight line. Shortcut, down dog. Yogi squat, hop forward, landing with feet wide. Drop the hips, use the blocks to sit on. Hands to heart, push against the inner legs, lengthen spine, open hips. Bring the left hand to the floor. Extend the right arm up into the air, reach behind you. Stay here for your bind, or if you can, take that bind. Ooh, hook fingers. All right, half garland pose. We'll release the bind, bring both hands in front, crow or partial crow. Lifting the hips, step back, plank, straight line, chaturanga. Up dog, and downward facing dog. Pause here for a moment. And again, let's just bring knees to the floor. Let's take cat and cow. Let's just keep all that good movement through the spine and hips. Alrighty. This is where you want to use your blanket or a big beach towel, and maybe take it across your mat like you're crossing the letter T. Okay? This is going to be for your legs. Now, I gave you a little foreshadowing. When we were in our yogi squat, I said I looked like a frog. Guess what? We're doing frog pose. Alrighty? So, what you want to do, I'm just situating my blanket here. You're going to get your knees on your blanket, hands in front, and then just start walking the knees out to the side, making sure they stay on your soft blanket. Now what you also want to do is keep good alignment. So as the knees go out, look behind you, make sure your ankles are in the same line. Can you see this? I'm not sure if you can. The ankle is in the same alignment as the knee, straight line, rather than an angle with the feet pulled in. Kick it out, ankle and knee, same alignment, so both legs. Okay, I need to move forward here. There we go. All right, and just go as wide as you like, and then start to come down to the ground. Now you can even put a big pillow on your belly here and chest and just kind of rest on this pillow. Or if you can go down a little lower, you can bring forehead down to the ground or a block. I'm going to use a block here. So we are in frog pose, Matsyasana. I'm sorry, it is actually Mandukasana. Mandukasana is frog pose. Ooh, pretty deep stretch in the inner thighs. We're going to hold this for several breaths. And again, just like some other deep postures that we've done already today, and just any practice really that you do, if you're in a pose and it feels a little bit too deep, feel free to soften it up a little bit or even come out of the pose completely. You want to be sure to honor your body, listen to your body, respond to it appropriately. Do what you need to do. I'm just providing some suggestions and some ideas and some instruction. Let's take 3 more breaths here in our frog pose. I'll show you a way to get out of this posture. Okay, if your head is down, just going to lift it up a little bit.
Maybe come up onto the forearms. With the feet, go ahead and bring the heels close together. That should take that deep stretch out of the inner thighs. Come up onto your hands. As you're lifting yourself up, you can start walking the knees in towards each other here. All right, that'll help you get out of the pose. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a seat. I'm just going to move my blanket out of the way. Take a seat, sit in the center of your mat. Go ahead and roll down onto your back. And once you're there, go ahead and hug your knees into chest. And maybe some motion here. I like to do circles, so maybe you'll go clockwise and then counterclockwise. And give your feet a little bit of a massage here, meaning just circle the ankles, circle the feet. Maybe you flex your feet, point your toes. And we actually did a lot with the feet. I mean, just the different ways that the feet have to support the body in many of our postures. All right, let's take another hip opener. Let's take happy baby pose. So we'll start by taking the knees wide, feet flexed. You can even pause here. This could be your happy baby pose without even taking the feet up towards ceiling. You can just keep it open like this. And if you'd like, take feet up and grab hold of the bottom of the feet if you can reach them, or hold onto the ankles. Press down gently. Okay, not too different from several poses that we've already done. Okay, yogi squat. Even those deep lunges. Remember those deep lunges we did earlier? And even your your bound side angle poses. They're all related and have some similarities. All right, let's soften this up by bringing the soles of the feet together and set the feet onto the floor for a reclining cobbler's pose or reclining bound angle pose. So you can just kind of rest here. Now, the inner thighs may have gotten a nice stretch in our frog pose, but if you feel like, okay, they've been stretched enough, you can take your pillows, books, or blocks, place them underneath your knees here so your legs can just rest, but they don't have to open out so deeply, okay? So the stretch isn't so significant. And so I'm doing that myself because that frog pose was pretty deep for me. I think, okay, they've been stretched enough, so I just want this to be a little bit more relaxed. And so I'm using the blocks for a little lift and support. And take some deep breaths, really settling in. Let's go ahead and take 3 more breaths. If this feels pretty relaxing for you, you're welcome to stay here much longer if you'd like. The added postures I'm going to do here, I'm just going to do a twist and finish up the class. All right, so I'm going to bring the knees together, moving my blocks out of the way. Hug knees in. And then take both knees over to the left side, extending right arm off to the right side, creating that nice twist in the low back. Welcome to join me in these twists, or maybe you're still in your reclining cobbler's pose. You can even skip the twists. Maybe do something else that your body needs at the moment. Doesn't necessarily have to be a twist. You can even move right into Shavasana now and just start that long meditative practice. So really just moving the way that you need to move. Right now I'm just moving into the spinal twists. I'm coming back up to center and then taking knees over to the right side, left arm extending to left side, holding for several breaths. Again, moving in the way that you need to move.
Whenever you feel complete, you might come back up to center, give your knees a hug. Continuing with any more movements or moving into Shavasana here. Nice extension of the legs out front, arms down by your side. Here you might inhale, fill yourself up completely with breath. Nice energy here, then exhale, completely release. Relax, melt right into the earth. Settle in. Now if you need props here, like a blanket or pillow for added support for your knees or elevated feet or for your back or head, please use those props. Find comfort and ease in your mind and body. You can keep your eyes opened, gazing upward, really at nothing, or close your eyes and gaze inward. Slow, steady breaths. Paying attention to your breathing. Sometimes our minds begin to wander. We start thinking about what we're going to do after the yoga practice. If you notice that you're doing just that, that's okay, it's normal. Just acknowledge it and just take a deep breath in and out just to bring you back to this moment. Stay fully present. Return to your meditative practice. Stay here as long as you'd like. Even as I end the practice, you're welcome to stay right here in this place of comfort and ease, Shavasana. Whenever you feel like it's time to move, start with breath. Take 5 slow, deep breaths. As you're breathing in and out, just feeling movement return to your body. Subtle movements, and then grander movements. Until you've generated enough energy so you can move, rolling slowly onto one side of your body, perhaps to a nurturing pose. And then still moving in slow motion, guiding your way up until you're in a seat, using a pillow or blanket to sit on here. Sitting up nice and tall, legs crossed, lengthened spine. Relax shoulders and arms, hands resting in your lap. Find stillness, maybe taking a breath or two. And one last movement together. Inhale, extend your arms into the air, reach high. Exhale, bring your palms together and down to your heart. Hold here in stillness, find your breath. Thank you so much for joining me in this practice today. Take one more breath in
and out. And as we come to the close of our practice together, we bow saying, Namaste.